today is Christianity a copycat religion, from
Right.
all these other Eastern and ancient religions. Is this just did Christians copy, the Bible
Right.
from somebody else in the late 1800s that people claim? I mean, that's
Right.
extremely late, but people say that. Is this a copycat religion?
Well, the short answer to that is no.
Okay, so I'm not living a lie. Okay,
You're
so
not living a lie.
everybody, this the end of the show. We're not living a lie. Bye-bye.
Now, of course, that's very simple, and we're going to get into some reasons why I say no. But before I get into that, we're going to go into some primary sources.
Right.
We're going to do some compare and contrast. But before we do that, I know a lot of us are not going to be able to regurgitate these things come next family gathering. Christmas Eve is coming up, Christmas Day. You're having Christmas dinner. And you're sitting next to your woke friend, your woke cousin Malik, who was a gangster last year, but now he's like, got Naj himself. He got the kufi and the dashiki.
Right.
He's like, don't call me by my slave name no more. You know what I mean? Like that dude. We all have that one cousin or uncle that's super duper woke, right?
Right.
So when you have these discussions, it's always good. I think it's a really good practical. The burden of proof is only on the person who makes the claim.
Exactly.
Right? You don't have to do any heavy lifting as a believer if you're not making the claim. So if Cousin Malik is saying to you that Christianity is a ripoff of ancient Kemet, for example, your response should be, wow, that's interesting. How did you come to that conclusion? Real simple. And what you might find interesting is they might get very irate and upset with you because these guys are not known to having to articulate their points, right? Because a lot of these guys learn their stuff from memes and YouTube videos. And they just regurgitate and parrot what's being said to them because they like what it says because it reaffirms their prejudice against Christianity. But they never had to really think it through. And they always say, do your research. They don't do their research. They take the memes and YouTubes and in their personal echo chambers where they say the same things to each other, but they never had to explain the points that they make. So something as simple as just asking them, well, how do you get to that? Now what's funny enough, I've gotten into more debates on the internet just for asking that question. And Gusto, you probably had the same issue. You know what I mean? It's like, just a simple question. Like, right. Okay, I'm not even saying you're wrong yet.
Right. Who taught you that? Like,
how did you get that? How did you get to this place? Show me, man. Look, but that's something that any believer can easily do, right? But once the conversation gets a little bit more in depth, then you might want to bring out some to help them see that there really isn't that much of a connection that they think there is. And that's what we're going to do today, right? So with that being said, let me share my screen. The trash is, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the creation story, right? Every culture in the ancient Near East has a creation story. We're going to just focus between the Bible and ancient Egypt, since a lot of the people who you might come across are going to bring up ancient Kemet. Kemet is just it's the actual more ancient word for Egypt. Egypt is the Roman, Greco-Roman version of Egypt. Of Kemet. Kemet means black land, right? So within this black land, you actually have about three major theologies when it comes to the creation story, right? Which is already problematic for them now, right? Because you got three different creation stories as opposed to Genesis, which is just one, right? But anyway, the first one we're going to discuss is the Heliopolitan theology. And in this theology, right, Nun, the pre-existent primeval ocean, quote, came into being by himself. Keep that in mind. It came into being by himself. In one of the Egyptian cosmogonic speculations, Atum, who arose out of the pre-existent Nun, threatened that the land will return into Nun, into the floodwaters, as in its first state. Quote, thus it is to be noted that in Heliopolitan cosmogonic mythology, the, quote, watery chaos or waste was pre-existent and was personified as Nun, the mother of gods, or she who bears Re, the sun god, identified with Atum each day. So in this particular theology, you have the water itself is pretty much a god, right? Which is called Nun. And this God, the watery chaos, came into being by himself. It's self-created. And this Nun is where we get the god Re, who's also identified as Atum. And this creation story happens every day. Right? When the sun comes up and the sun comes down the next day, it's a recreation of the mythology every day. All right. So this is, if you was a practitioner of Heliopolitan theology and ancient Kemet, this is what you would believe. But then there's Memphite theology. Okay. And in Memphite, in the rival Memphite theology, Ptah, the chief god of Memphis, is equated with Nun, and is the creative principle itself out of which Atum and all other gods were created. Again, focus on that. Atum and all other gods were created. So Ptah is both Nun, the primeval ocean, the Tatanin, the primeval land, which arose out of Nun and is equated with the land of Egypt. All right, so the other one says Atum and Re. This one says Ptah, right? Then you got Hermopolitan cosmogony. In Hermopolitan cosmogony, there exists prior to creation an infinite, dark, watery chaos, whose characteristics are incorporated into the four pairs of gods and the Ogdui. As the water begins to stir, the primeval hillock emerges from the deep, bringing up the, quote, cosmic egg, out of which Re, the sun god, will appear to proceed with the creation of all other things. The new creative events occur cyclical fashion with the daily rebirth of the sun and the annual receding of the night. So in this particular cosmology, right, you got the water, it brings this cosmic egg, which the sun god Re comes out of this egg.
Out the egg?
It comes out of an egg, a cosmic egg.
A cosmic egg, okay.
And it proceeds to create everything else. But this happens, again, every day and every season. All right? So you got Re, Atum, Ptah, Nun. They're all created gods. Right?
So are they created every day?
Stories. All right, yeah, bro.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow.
So what this is known as, these are theogonies. A theogony is the genealogy or birth of the gods. Right? You can find this in the Greek English lexicon. So here's the question. Do we have a theogony in the Genesis account of creation?
A big no.
Right.
A big
So
no.
from the very beginning, right? We're starting in the beginning, creation. We already see that there's a